Hello, this is Lawrence R. Harvey, and you're listening to withoutyourhead.com. Although how you're listening to withoutyourhead.com without your head, I simply don't know.
All right, and welcome to the station of decapitation withoutyourhead.com. I am Nasty Neil.
And I am Annabelle Lecter.
Should I say that I'm here also?
Sure.
But you scared me with that announcement. I thought you will do that later.
Fair enough.
Okay, just kidding. I'm Srdjan Spasojevic, director of A Serbian Film.
You know, it's definitely one of the most controversial and I think most powerful films of the last decade, and it happens to be your debut film. That's going to be something, your first movie, and it's a movie that people have talked about and have mixed feelings about, but definitely it made an impact.
Well, if you say so, of course. I don't know what to add.
Just agree.
I hope you know it's 4-year-old movie, so
Yes.
it's been a
But
long
it's
time.
still, people still, they know it. If we're talking about a Serbian film, people recognize that name. Not maybe everybody out on the street recognizes it, but a lot of film people know what it is, and people interested.
Yes, yes. It is like that. Yes, it is. But of course, it's always putting me in a uncomfortable place if I'm the one supposed to talk about it. So it's hard for me to comment on your on what you just said.
I understand. But you did bring up that it is 4 years ago when you made the movie. Now 4 years, since you made the movie, since it's been out, since people have seen it. How is a Serbian film changed your life?
Well, the main thing he did, the movie did, it put me on a film map, on a director's map. So right now I'm in some kind of negotiation with some people from America, from Hollywood, talking about some new projects. So that's the biggest change.
That's very interesting. So I know that what you've done so far has been very, very personal and has meant a lot. You had a lot to say through your film. How do you feel that will play out working with someone in Hollywood? I feel like you would have had to have enforced that you need to be able to maintain your own creativity and your own feel to these things to a very high degree. So how do you feel it will work with Hollywood?
Well, first, it's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy for me, and not going to be easy for them. But different ways to make a film, different times for making a film. Being one that I grew up on American movies. My childhood was I was watching American films from American authors. So in my defense, I have that commercial line that is needed and that I can use. So it's my next, not my next, but my film with Hollywood producers will have to be a commercial one. Mm-hmm. So it's just lots of degrees of commercial movies.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to stay
with find compromise and we can meet at some point?
Are you going to stay within? I don't know if you would consider a Serbian film a horror film. Some people don't, but are you going to stay within that kind of genre?
Well, I don't consider Serbian film a horror film. Mm-hmm. Not much classical horror moments inside it, but probably because of the impact or feeling that it produces to an audience, lots of people call it a horror film. So right now, it's not a question about will I make a horror or thriller or I don't know, comedy. Right now we are on a stage of searching for a script. So not decided yet. Horror, thriller, but it will be in genre waters, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. You worked on ABC's of Death. So
Yes.
that was a segue into working with different people. How do you think that might impact this new experience in Hollywood?
Well, that was a really interesting experience. Unfortunately, we didn't work together that much because there were 26 directors from different places on the globe. So we had our tasks, our letters, and we shared ideas with producers, and we made a film. So not much work like together with different people, but it was interesting working with American producers, with some people that I have met during festival life of Serbian film. So it was very interesting, and I was very pleased and happy to be a part of that film.
Yeah. Now, in the early stages of a Serbian film, even when you were just like thinking of the movie itself, was it always the intent, as you said, this was gonna like a metaphor for life and art in Serbia, or was it ever just I want to make a movie?
Uh, for me, it's let's make a movie. I was never much of an analyst or how to say a critic or reviewer guy. So I'm trying to make a film and to say or just to incorporate my feelings inside it. So it's on other people, on people who are in analysts and movie critics to talk about that. So for me, the beginning was let's make a movie, and probably it was I don't know 6 years ago maybe when we started to talk about that idea and that film. So as I can remember, maybe the first things that were mentioned was like man trapped into hell of underground illegal porn industry, and so that would probably be my view of the world around me, the whole world that I'm living in. So my first intention was really to incorporate my deepest and honest feelings that I have towards the world that I live in, and to make, let's say, best film that I can. So after that, probably when the work on script starts, lots of other things, other themes are starting to be added and incorporated in the film also. But the first thing was probably, I'm saying probably because lots of those things are going instinctively and emotionally. So it was like giving a picture of my feeling about this world. So it's like that's how I feel, and those pictures were made by my body. My body produced it. So that's like the easiest way to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
So did the depth of this film, it obviously even from the get-go it had a very deep meaning, but there's so much
Of course.
symbolism. Did you expect it to grow to this level where you became maybe more attached?
I was aware, of course, but I didn't think about it that much. Sometimes it happens that I listen to some analysts talking about my film, and I say, "Wow, it's really there," but I didn't realize it. So, in my defense, I really approached the film instinctively and emotionally. So those things could happen. As I said, I'm not much of an analyst, So talking about what did you want to say, what were your intentions, or things like that. It's not always easy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that's...
Sorry?
If you're doing an artistic... Because I think it's very artistic from how you're describing the process. Do you think these deep films are probably the most effective the way you've done it? That it comes from your subconscious, some conscious, but then you realize later that there's more than you even realized?
Well, probably. But of course, I can just like analyze it together with you. I don't have a right answer, or I don't hold the truth. So probably it is that's the case. If I sat down and said, okay, let's break some boundaries and break some world records and discuss some people, who knows? Maybe I'd made a shitty film that would be I don't know, ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah.
So probably answer to your question is yes.
Once you had the script written, like how hard was it to get people involved in the movie, like the cast and even like people on the crew?
Surprisingly, it was easy. Almost every actor in the film was our first choice. So we started choosing lead characters for a film, and after that, when we assigned some big names, big Serbian names, the rest of it was easier than we thought. So we gathered the crew that was thinking the same way we did. When I say we, I think on writer Alexander and myself, and they shared that idea with us. They shared that feeling with us. They wanted to say the same thing. Every one of them were very hit by a script, and they were very eager to participate in this project.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe, because being an American, we have maybe a vague idea, or people that are specifically tuned into Serbia. Can you give us a good sense of what life is like and why it was so important for everyone to be involved in this film?
Tough question, and there is like a political smell here. Because, well, I don't know. Life in Serbia is not easy. It's Eastern Europe, like traditionally not too evolved in like industrial business economy way. So life isn't easy. Of course, we're not like, I don't know, some jungle people. Mm-hmm. Life in Serbia could be very, very interesting and civilized. People from Western Europe and even from United States find very interesting things in Serbia, like nightlife, discos, restaurants. It's like a schizophrenic picture. Very hard life and very like very crowded and very very colorful during day and night. But years and years of bad way that we were going, like probably the majority of Eastern Europe made lots of wounds on our bodies, on our soul. So we always want to. I don't know. It's not about saying something. This film is probably more of a scream. So we gathered the crew, and it's like we wanted to scream together.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Someone will take that scream as annoying. Someone will take that scream as a scream for help. Someone would say, "Wow, it's so artistic. Or it's so like nice tuned." I don't know, but it's hard to answer your question. Maybe I'm going too far from it to describe all those feelings and everything. But it's maybe that word "scream" could answer it. Like it was a scream from.
I think it's an excellent answer. I think you've done a fantastic job of answering that question.
Okay, thanks.
Now, in the movie, obviously, there's the new porn scene, and I don't want to spoil the movie, but I'm sure anyone's listening has already seen it. And the very end, it's even after they're dead, so it's basically from birth to death. the people are being like defiled. Was that intent of your movie to show that the like all the age range even after they're dead?
First thing was we were thinking about that scene and ask ourselves, and I was asking myself, what's the thing that Vukmir, the main villain, can show to Miloš, so Miloš would be scared to that we could be scared, and that we see that crazy guy means business. I didn't want to, show some war atrocities that we saw here in Serbia every day on news during 90s, prime time news. I just wanted to show it like something that we have already seen in some movies, and of course that thing had something to do with Vukmir's job. So when things like that popped on my mind, I started to connect all the things that scene could mean. So showing Vukmir as an ultimate villain, showing a metaphor, showing a literal drawings of our feelings, showing a line of film that is talking about. It's a very important line of the film. We will talk about that probably later. It's also comment about art in today's world, especially Eastern European, but with very big connection and let's say investors from Western world, Europe and United States. So that was how that scene was built.
How do people in Serbia react to this film? In the rest of the world, we're, like I was inferring earlier, we're on the outside. So when people see this, I can imagine some people will be like you and feel like it's now this is out. And I'm sure some people are offended, probably the people you are pitching as villains. So what has been your experience in your own country with this film?
Well, I never show a finger on the people that I think are villains. And actually, I don't have names. So even in discreet privacy, I don't have names. So they're presenting governments, a group of people that are governing our lives, I don't know, economically, artistically, in every way. So if anyone recognizes themselves there, so it's because it's about them, not because I had I was having a character that I wanted to show here.
Do you hope that this will play on the conscience of those people? Do you think that they might get something out of this?
No.
No.
Yeah. No way. No way.
Yeah.
But it's my intention was to like, as I said, to scream and to say and to put my feelings on the paper, on the screen. I didn't want to. I don't want to. I can't change world. If someone finds this like a motivation to do something good, great. If not, I'm sorry. I made this film and I made it dark because dark and bad stuff move me to do good. Maybe someone doesn't feel that way. Your previous question was about the audience. Reactions were maybe almost similar in any state or any place. Lots of extremes, one way or the other. Some people hate it, hated it very much. Some people liked it very much.
How
I
rewarding.
won't give a label, about either of those groups, but that's reactional. For any film, reaction goes different ways.
Yeah.
There is no film made for everyone, or there is no film that everyone will say great. But it's always easier to pick a film like a Serbian film or any similar to say, listen how bad things are being said about this film. Lots of people are leaving theaters and so on and so on. Of course, I saw a lot more people leaving theaters on some festivals in Europe on some artistic movies. So it's always easy to pick on movies like this.
When you get that kind of reaction when people actually walk out of the film, how do you take that? I mean, do you think, oh no, they're walking out of my movie, or is there part of you like, well,
no,
I'm kind of proud that they're walking
even
out.
if I said I was approaching emotionally and instinctively, I didn't approach stupidly. So of course I was aware that lots of bad and bad reactions will be around the film. If I said, let's say, if I said bad things about the world, I have to expect that the world will fight back. So
Right.
I didn't expect that flowers will be thrown on me or some awards or Nobel prizes. I know. In the film, I pictured a world that we live in, so I didn't expect much nice things from it.
This isn't Forrest Gump.
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's not.
Obviously it's your art and you want it to be seen. So when all the different countries want all these different edits, how hard is that for you to, edit things out of something you created?
Well, that's not, it's not something enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that I enjoy, but unfortunately, again, I'm repeating myself, but again, that's the world we live in. Different laws and different news on every 100 kilometers, 100 miles, different morality, but always the same hypocrisy. So it wasn't a nice feeling to know that your film is cut, especially because lots of people defending that cut version were like talking about the film without giving chance to me to defend it. And distributors also were not too eager to fight against censorship. They were happy enough if the film was released in any form, so that was enough for them.
Mm-hmm. You bring up different, morality laws in different countries, and there was a film festival in Spain where the people who showed it were actually brought up on child pornography charges, saying for exhibiting child pornography. And obviously that's seems very silly and stuff, but how did you feel when that came out? Because it's one thing for someone to attack you for making the movie, but when someone is, could potentially happen to them for just showing your movie, is that how do you feel about that? How did that make you feel at that time?
Well, there were some things that I was surprised about, and that was one of them. I never expected that I would have to send some kind of releases and testimonies that we during shooting never killed anyone, never raped anyone, that baby is a doll and puppet. This boy's body in last scene is also a puppet. Special effects, masks, makeup. So that was very surprising for me.
What-
But it wasn't nice. You know, one thing is, as you mentioned, one thing is when I receive some bad critics or some stupid anonymous threats on internet or something like that. But that was really, I don't know. I don't have a name for it. It was very disgusting to see that director of a festival that showed that film could be charged with things that you mentioned. Happily, he wasn't, and that trial was, I don't know those legal terms, but it was like a trial before trial, or making decision, will it be a trial? So during that decision making, they also had to show and give evidence and to prove that no damage was done. So after they did it successfully, charges were dropped and it was okay. But it was like a few months for that festival director that he didn't really need it.
Yeah, and that really would have been a scary thing for, all movie makers going forward if just showing someone's movie could get someone in trouble. So,
well, year ago, I'm sure you don't know it. Year ago, I was contacted from Pennsylvania. I think it's somewhere near to you.
Yeah, that's actually where my family is originally from. Yep.
I was informed that in Pennsylvania, again, some state prosecutor or something like that, I may be making some mistakes in those terms, are building a case against the guy who owned the Serbian film. So someone reported the guy that he has a Serbian film in his home, and a case was built from them. And I was called again to give some evidence that we didn't kill anyone, we didn't rape anyone, so on, so on. So,
how do you feel about people who say these things that can believe? I know terrible things happen in the world, and there are films made, not unlike the film you depicted, but how do you feel knowing that people could even believe that's possible?
I don't know. Maybe those people are like suspicious. They are suspect number one. They are thinking that that is possible. That for making a film, we could waste few people and rape some. So that's interesting for them to think that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's primitivism is all around us. It's very hard to describe it. I don't know, really.
Mm-hmm. You would think in 2014 there really wouldn't be anyone in like a civilized country that would think that about a movie.
Well, 2014, 2010, 2008, when we start shooting, but it's all the same. It's all the same. We will fly to the moon, we will live on the moon, but we will still be very, very primitive in some situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned the cast and the two lead characters, and Milos and Vukmir, and those were the first two guys you wanted. And personally, I think they're just amazing in the movie. Now, what did the villain in the movie represent for you?
Oof, he represents many things. As I said, he's representing a government and people that are governing our lives for purposes unknown. People that are feeling powerful and feeling free to do whatever they want. But especially, this film is talking about art in today's world. And also, I'm always saying the story is based on Eastern Europe, in Serbia. That's the place I'm talking about. But it's talking about universal problems, stories building and widening on to the world itself. Film is also talking about shape of the art today, state of the art today. He's presenting, let's say, a crazy businessman in art world that is making movies that audience or part of the audience or part of investors want to see. He is European director for foreigner investors that wants to import feelings in terms of sorry, just to find a word from investors that want to import misery, so they can show how happy their lives are. He's representing European, let's say, European art that is reduced on the level of news. Movies in European festival are yesterday's news about some social or economical subject, problem, theme. Of course, war and refugees are best subject. So, in some exaggerated metaphor, he's making movies for Western people to feel alive, because they're watching other people's misery and other people's disgusting lives. Let's say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was earlier I asked about whether or not you thought this type of person would watch this movie and learn anything from it. Do you think, much like the people you depicted in this film, that those type of people do take pleasure in, let's call it evil, in their own ability to dominate and force people into these situations and take that innocence and destroy it for their own sense of control and power?
Well, of course, but those are only small elements in the film. You know, I took pornography as a base of our life and our art. I took those bullies or criminals or whatever, just to show that all of them are acting in that way. Of course, they feel very powerful to hurt innocent creature that cannot fight back, and that's their main source of strength.
Somehow,
So yes, they are feel powerful in those situations. If I understood your question correctly.
Yes.
Something I thought you did really well in the movie is the use of the music in the film. And before, like, that was added to the movie, and after it was added to the movie, could you really see the difference in the feel of the film?
Well, of course, we had the first cut without sound mixing and music, and that's always a different thing than when you hear music. I started to talk with composer during shooting, just based on a script. I have no talent in music, so I cannot like la 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 to a composer.
Mm-hmm.
We can just talk about
what kind of feeling you wanted.
Yeah, about feelings that we want to produce, about maybe sometimes about examples, like from some movies or some songs. And I was lucky that he understood it very well, and in most occasions he got it from the first time. So he's a very, very gifted composer, and he's a popular hip-hop musician and pop musician here in Serbia. But he understands music very well. He understood the film very well, idea and everything. So it was very, very interesting working with him on music for this film, and he was really great. And I hope that the music is also.
Yeah, I really think, especially when the movie really starts to delve into Milos, like, just going through craziness. I think it helps kind of get into that mindset where it's kind of disorienting and it's also just nonstop. And it to me it's just it's really perfect for the film and adds a lot to it.
Yes, in the second part of the film, it's like a very, very big part of the film.
Mm-hmm. Some people had asked on Facebook about this. Do you see humor in the movie?
Yes, I do. We did put some humor in it. Tell you the truth, it's 4 years has passed. I cannot remember right now where that humor was, but we put it in the places where we felt, it's interesting. Let's give him some relaxation, but not because we wanted to give some easiness to a film or the audience. So that humor is there only on the places that it almost presented itself.
Mm-hmm.
Someone won't find the humor there. Some people will find it more than I let's say planned. But there is certain dose, but not enough to make that film easy or humorous.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that interesting, actually, that different things that people pick out about the movie that you didn't see yourself? And
well, it's interesting, of course. Sometimes they are talking about some good things that are in there. Sometimes they're talking about something bad that I maybe don't agree with. But that's part of the industry. As I said, I'm not much of an analyst, and I don't approach the film on that way. And it's always hard for me to talk about my film. I don't know why I agreed to this interview, but here I am. Let's talk. But it's probably that comes from, I don't know, my being. If I would ever met a director that I admire, I would never ask him, what was your idea? What was your intention? What did you want to say? Mm-hmm. He told me everything in the film. I saw it, and more importantly, I feel it. Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately, today, talking about movies became a big, big part of the movie itself, and I don't like it. Give me your film, and that's it.
Uh-huh.
And directors, and I was also in those shoes, that the industry. Directors are talking hours about their film, and I don't know why. As I said, I was in those shoes also. I was asked lots of questions, and very often I was answering it and had no problem with it. But that's the thing that just it's not my thing. I'm not saying that is the wrong thing. Don't do that. No, it's just something that it's not my thing. I like to see a film, and that's enough for me. I could ask that director, I don't know, what kind of cigars did you have during it, or what scenes were cut out, because I couldn't see them. But to ask him what was your idea or intentions, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I have a question about that, because it really is an artist's point of view to make the art, and then people get from it what they get from it. So my question, your symbolism is incredible. Did you, before you started making film, did you have experience in other kinds of art? Did you paint? Did you draw? Anything like that? Because it really is a fantastic and beautiful movie. And so I'm curious, you have that sensibility.
If you can call being a sportsman in athletics an art, then I was an artist. I don't know how to sing, to paint, to write, to play an instrument. Well, now I'm thinking, what am I doing here? But no, I never did any of those art things. As I mentioned, I was in sports when I was young, until my 18 or 19 year. So after that, and before and after that, I was a big movie lover. I watched movies constantly, and probably that's the place where my desire to be a filmmaker grew.
Well, once you actually got involved in making the movie and you made the movie, did you realize this is something that you want to do? This is like a love of yours, and you want to, not just make this one film and go do something else. This is really what, you want to do?
Well, I started the movie study with that idea. I knew I liked it. I thought I could do it. And the plan was to make make movies. So now I'm here with a Serbian Film and a segment for ABCs of Death, and I'm planning to do some more. And I'm working on it, of course.
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing your other work.
Well, thanks. I'm interested too.
I did want to ask about Netflix, and if you had any opinions on Netflix deciding to take your movie off their site.
Well, I don't know about that. When did that happen?
I guess you didn't know, but yeah, it's actually it was stricken from the site. You can't rent the DVD or watch it online. They just will not carry it. They had it very briefly, and then they totally got rid of it. I think it was not long after it came out.
All that I know from U.S. distribution, maybe I will miss some date or something, but they started distribution. I don't know I think in 2011, beginning of 2011, with a cut version. And let's say during 2012 or something like that, they released uncut version, which I think it's really uncut version. And that's all I know. I didn't know about stores and TVs and sites, so I don't know about Netflix.
Yeah. It's I don't know if you're aware of Netflix, what it is, but it's a website.
Yeah. I know. But if we are talking about people being prosecuted for owning this film, it's not a film being put down from some sites. It's not too interesting if you compare those things.
Yes, I can definitely understand your point there.
And unfortunately, it's also that it's hard for me to start talking about some human rights, freedom, etc. It's a question for you, not for me. Why did your Netflix did that?
Yeah, well, actually, Netflix has never given a reason why they did it. They just did it.
Well, for us to hypothesize about it.
Sorry?
I was saying that not necessarily knowing. Well, I think much like your movie deals with things that you presume based on what you witness. And the same with Netflix. What would be their motivation? Because they're not going to probably get into it. It could be financial. I mean, they've gotten away with not saying anything.
Of course, could be financial. Yes. It just was a bad business. I don't know. Yeah. But Neil put it like a big conspiracy, so I don't think about that.
I like to start trouble here on the show.
To get away from you talking about your film, what if you would like to get away a little bit from talking about your films, what kinds of films did you enjoy growing up, and how has that changed over time?
As I said, I grew up on American movies, American authors, William Friedkin, Sam Peckinpah, Walter Hill, Clint Eastwood, Carpenter, Cronenberg, De Palma, Polanski. I will probably forget something, but those kinds of directors, those kinds of movies. Of course, lots of movies from other directors, from directors that I usually don't like, but lots of good movies, good makings. So that's something that I was watching while I was a kid, and I still watch movies from all those names. Of course, when I was 10 years old, I watched Chuck Norris movies, of course. So there was an interesting question on one festival from a journalist that said, "Did you, like all other horror directors, started with Star Wars?" So that's the time I saw where the problem is with the rest of the movies, because they started from Star Wars, and that's not good basics for horror or serious movies or any kind of thriller, because that means it's all about I don't know, let's have fun with some teenagers and blood.
Not a fan of Star Wars?
No. No, but they have their place and their audience, of course. But I'm just talking in those terms. If horror directors started with Star Wars, then I don't get it.
Because it is a fantasy film.
Well, I know.
It's very
I
different feel.
I
It deals
know.
with good and evil.
Don't get mad. I'm not talking bad about Star Wars. Just maybe I was too late. I didn't watch it when I was 8. I watched it with 10, so it didn't was appealing for me.
You did mention a lot of different types of directors, so there's no real one genre of movie that you prefer.
No, of course not.
Just if it's a good movie, it's a good movie.
I even like action movies. I'm a fan of. Sometimes I like to watch like a good flash to flash.
Mm-hmm.
So it's lots of interesting things. I like comedies. I didn't mention any name that made comedies, but comedies are great also. And interesting thing, in today's movies, I would say that comedies are the smartest things around. It's like they are not trying to explain themselves. They're not trying to explain their jokes as some thrillers or quote serious movies are always explaining the things we are seeing on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So comedies today are very, very interesting and very good. I feel, of course, it's not healthy. It's like that. But comedies, you have, let's say, you have more freedom in comedies because it's a comedy. In comedy, you can do anything. In serious film, you cannot. So that's why comedies are not paying so much attention in not pissing anyone or justify themselves to anyone. They're just making the films as they want. And that's a big thing, and that's the most important thing in comedies today. Unfortunately, some other, let's call it serious movies like thrillers or actions or horror, whatever, don't have that kind of freedom. And I'm not a big fan of mainstream movies in the last, 10 years. Not so many good movies in mainstream.
Not Transformers?
No, not Transformers.
No Pacific
not
Rim.
Avengers.
I don't like those either. People come after me all the time. I don't like the Marvel films at all.
Well, they don't have to be pissed because someone don't like them. They are very popular. They earn money, and that's okay. There are new generations, new kids, new children that want to see films like that, and new one. They cannot grow up on movies that we grew up, and that's normal. We gotta have Transformers, we gotta have Avengers, we gotta have all those films, but they shouldn't be the main thing. They shouldn't be the only thing present. They shouldn't be the only thing investors would invest in. So that's the problem. Those films needs to be there, I just don't want to make.
Yeah, that's actually something we do talk a lot about on our show, our video show, where we review movies. Or a lot of the like movies you talked about earlier, like Exorcist, and a lot of the movies from the '70s and the '80s, and a lot of stuff even in the '90s. The mainstream movies of those times were not all just mindless movies like Transformers.
Of course, that was a movie, a very very happy time for movies.
Hmm.
Of course, it's a big subject. We can talk about that for days. What happened and why is that happening? Box office was important thing 30 years ago, but it was not the only thing, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Now it's all about the box office.
It's,
But me planning to work with Hollywood and in US with some commercial film, I shouldn't talk like this, but you made me do it.
yeah. Well, you said it's not just about the box office, but a lot of those movies of those times, even though they were about something, they still did well at the box office. Do you think it's a change in audience, or do you think it's a change in the way a lot of the Hollywood sees the audience? Like maybe they won't want a movie where it's not only big mainstream movie, but it's also an intelligent movie and about something.
Well, I forgot what you.
Well, you said a lot of it before wasn't just about.
I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
Lots of things are changing. It's again that's a theme for a big analysis. Lots of things are changing. I'm not talking about any conspiracy, but someone calculated that box office movies are the best investment, and someone gave a formula for box office movie. Formula that usually works, not always, of course. We always have some misses. So if you are giving to the audience, I don't know, one type or two types of movies, and if they know only about those types, they are okay, they are satisfied, they don't know what they are missing, and they will go to those movies and watch it. Especially if those films are about for teenagers. Teenagers are in the period when they want to see some movie many times, frequently. Plus, they're going with their friends, with their mothers, fathers, grandmothers, whatever. So that's of course box office and those kinds of movies. They know what they're doing. It's just too bad that something else isn't around.
It seems like younger generations have a lot more financial power now. I think much more so than when I was growing up. Kids have a lot of money comparatively. They have a lot of things, cell phones, things like that we just wouldn't have had for kids then. How do you feel? I mean, it seems like that would have a giant impact. That's the target.
Yeah.
That is the target audience now, not adults who want to think and consider and mull over ideas.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think of that before with the previous question, but yes, type of life is changed. Everything is fast. Everything is easy. One thing about movies, as any other art, it's made accessible in terms that everybody is feeling that they can do it today. Anyone can make a film today with the phone, with the cell phone, and someone is saying that it's a good film. There are festivals for cell phone movies. There are festivals for everything that is, in terms of movies, that is like moving pictures. So everything is fast, everything is moving. So it's not about quality, it's about quantity. I don't want to watch one film that I will think about 10 days. I want to watch 25 movies in 5 days. And that's the thing.
Do you feel like there's any coming back from that? Because it does feel that the intellectual and artistic aspect of movies, well, we're just saying, is going down because they're getting lost in the masses. How much of a struggle is it to come out and be able to be seen and have that audience? Is that audience dying away? The people who would want to have intellectual thought and appreciate the art of film.
I don't know. No, maybe we don't have to go back. Maybe we just have to change something small, some small things, small matters, and just to make place for I don't know. It's not old school, but to just make place for something different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just about younger audience.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is changing, and older people are also accepting this as something that is like it's okay. That's what's offering now, and that's it. They don't have time. They don't have energy to think much about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that. Why should they? They want to relax themselves, to have a few hours in peace, to have some film. And if that is what is offered there, then okay. No one will go on the street and say, bring back all movies, oh, what that.
Yeah, you mentioned, that you think comedies, not a lot of the comedies recently or movies that you enjoy and you think are, stand out. Any particular ones?
I cannot remember now because I'm usually I watch comedies when my girlfriend gets some comedies, and then I'm sitting with her and watch what she plays to me. So let's not waste time on me thinking about movies. But as I said, in general, they are very good and very smart.
Yeah. Are there any recent movies, besides comedies that have come out that you have been drawn to?
I don't watch movies as much as I did it 10 years ago or 15 years ago, especially in some periods when I work on some movies or on some scripts. There are periods when I cannot watch movies. Then I watch some sitcoms like Two Men and a Half. But the first thing that pops in my mind is William Friedkin and his two of last movies. Killer Joe, I think it was released a year or two ago, and Bug, 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know if you know that movie.
Bug is the one with is that the one about the guy who thinks there's bugs under his skin?
Yes.
I
Guy
love
and girl.
that movie.
And the girl is my mind stopped. I cannot remember the name of the actress, but very big and popular actress.
Yeah. I love that film.
Yeah.
It's no one hears about it. Here, no one knows it. I'll mention it.
That's pity. And the thing is that Friedkin, with those two films, he is like emitting the energy of a 25-year-old young debut director, full of energy, willing to do anything, So he is like the youngest and the youngest director with most energy today.
Killer Joe is an excellent movie too. I think that's really when because I was never really a big Matthew McConaughey fan, and I think in that movie is really when like, man, this guy's good. And then I don't know if you've seen True Detective. I just think he's amazing in that TV show. But yeah, Killer Joe is a very good film.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But there are lots of movies, of course. You surprised me with the question. I cannot remember now. I could make the list. I don't know. Mainstream movies. Quentin Tarantino is always very, very interesting. Coen Brothers. I don't know if they ever missed. There are, of course, some movies that are not popular, but also good.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that pops in my mind is what it called the Gray with Liam Neeson,
Yes.
Plane Crash and Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
That's a small movie, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I like that movie too.
So lots of movies, you know. But the thing is, also I noticed that independent production is very much is very close to a mainstream in terms of themes, stories, and way of they are done. 10 years ago, there was a bigger difference. Independent movies were more independent than today.
Mm-hmm.
Today, they are very, very often similar to mainstream movies, only cheaper and sadly worse.
Right.
Do you feel like movie makers really feel they have to do that to survive in film? And so they make these compromises to just be out there?
I'm sure that big number of them is doing that. And some of them are doing that because they like it and they think that's it. That's the movies they would do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, you know, as I mentioned, I'm planning to do a film there, so I'll be a good boy and I will make something commercial.
Uh-huh. And I hope you still talk to us then. You won't be too big for us.
I will. No worries.
Was there anything else, Annabelle? So I know we should probably wrap this up here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We do appreciate you coming on. It's been a great interview.
No problem. Thanks. It was my pleasure, and it was very interesting. I hope I make some sense. My English is not so skillful, but I hope you will edit me to sound like a very smart guy.
Oh, it was perfect. It was perfect. Very few endings.
You're lying already. Okay, great.
Now, I don't know if you're a person that does any like social media, but if people did want to follow you or contact you, do you have any way of doing that, or do you prefer they don't?
No, I'm how to say I'm nowhere. I don't have a Facebook, Twitter, or any of those things.
All right. Well, you do have several Twitters and a Facebook page, but I assume they're actually not you.
I have Twitter pages also.
I think Annabelle, are you there? You got some
I'm
static.
here now. I was cut,
Oh, okay.
but I am now here.
All right.
So
Yeah.
Neil, you mentioned I have a Twitter pages also.
Yeah, there's a few Twitter pages because I put up. I don't use Twitter too much. I do use Facebook a lot, but I put up that you're coming on the show, and I was like, oh, I'll check Twitter, and there are a couple of you on Twitter, but apparently they're not. Actually.
I know that people told me that there are a couple of me on Facebook, but I didn't know about Twitter.
Yeah, yep, there are. I think I even tagged you on Twitter. But apparently, I tagged someone on Twitter.
Did I say anything smart on Twitter?
No, I don't think he's. I was kind of upset. I was like, he didn't say anything about this.
You're a little shy on Twitter.
Well, I don't know what those people are writing for me, but
the Facebook page.
No one ever told me anything about my Twitter or my posts on Twitter, so they must not.
Yeah.
They are not doing good. It seems like they're not doing good.
Yeah, if you're gonna fake being you, at least make it interesting.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, as I said, I have nothing of. I don't do those things, so I'm sitting in the dark still.
All right. So it's been great, and I know you don't like to talk too much here about your movie, but I am a huge fan of it, and I love it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I loved R from Removed as well. That was fantastic, and in that short amount of time, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks.
Do you like that format, the ABCs of Death, where it's giving all these different directors a chance to make a short little film and sing?
It was interesting to watch. I never thought about that. It's not something that I prefer to do too much. But that proposal was very interesting because that was, who knows, maybe a one in a lifetime chance for me to do something like that. So I did it with joy, but I'm not sure if I will do it something like that soon.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you and take care.
This is Stephen Razor. As you know, I hate human beings, and you are listening to withoutyourhead.com.